Okay. Um, I'd like to say I figured it out, but in actuality, I looked it up. Um, this is what I need to get this to get this ending that I can then combine with this, which would then allow me to get the spotty ending. So it was the other way around. In the meantime, I unlocked all endings for these two, and yeah, that was useless, but at least I got them, I guess. So let me just bring back into my mind what these endings were. Wait, that's fine. So in this ending, okay, yeah, that was the good ending, I thought. Yeah, where Lee went and she talk about everything. Yeah. And for Lee Wen, what did that do at the end? Yeah. Yeah, so it does make sense. Alright. The story in the rainbow. The mountain was called Shuanglong Mountain. The name meant a mountain with two dragons. In weather like this, one could see the most beautiful rainbow on the mountain when the rain stopped. The rain was beating down on the bus window. It washed the view outside into a blur. The only thing recognizable was the blurry greenish mountain that was getting closer and closer. He's got cancer, stomach cancer, late stage. He's got cancer, stomach cancer, late stage. And she's repeating that over and over again. Miss Young's words kept echoing in my head. Why didn't he tell me? Why would he just leave like this in secret? I thought that we were at least friends. Once again, I had been left all alone. At the foot of the mountain, the ranger told me that hiking had been temporarily What? At the foot of the mountain, the ranger had told me that hiking had been temporarily suspended due to a high probability of mudslides. I managed to sneak past him when he wasn't paying attention. I was hiking up one step at a time, along the wet and slippery steps. My school uniform had gotten soaked inside and out. My shoes were covered in mud. I looked up. I was maybe 100 meters away from the summit. No, it should be only 50 meters. A gust of wind at the mountaintop blew me off balance. I was blown over like a young, weak and small tree. I rolled down the steps along with the mud and rocks. I tried to grab onto anything I could touch, the trees, the grass, but they all snapped. I was rolling down faster and faster. I felt myself leaving solid ground. I was flying, and I saw the valley beneath me. I pulled a pen out of my pocket and stabbed forward with it as hard as I could. A murky torrent of mud and rocks rushed down from up the mountain. I somehow stuck the pen into the cracks among the rocks in the cliff, but the torrent was too powerful. I felt weightless. I had never done bungee jumping before. I imagined it would probably feel something like this. I was falling. I kept falling. After what had felt like an eternity, my body finally touched the ground. I could feel something sticky coming out of my nose and my ears. It hurt so bad. So bad. I never thought this would be the end of me. I didn't want it to end like this. There were so many things I hadn't told him yet. Li Wen. Jimmy, adventure of a big brother. In this modern life, there isn't anything that can't be delivered right to the door. Yet, despite this, there are still things that are beyond our control. For instance, the shipping fee. Or that to qualify for free shipping you have to buy many small filler items hoping that they will be useful one day. Or that the tissues always run out sooner than expected. I always wrote down what I needed on my shopping list. Then, every Tuesday I would use the list when I went shopping at the nearby supermarket. I would usually go between the supper and evening discount hours. This way I could avoid the afternoon rush hours as well as the housewives who swarmed in for the discounted goods and be done within 30 minutes. However, it wasn't a good day to go out. The weather was extremely bad that night. As soon as I opened the door, huge raindrops smacked my face like small pebbles. Thunder exploded as if it was right on top of my head. I opened my umbrella. It was such a stormy evening, I heard that spooky things might come out on a night like this. And just when I had finished the thought, Big brother, could you come play with me? I suddenly heard a childish voice near me. I was so startled that I stumbled one step back. I stopped and took a closer look. It was a young boy that I had never seen before. Hey kid, don't play outside in the rain like this, you should go home. I hurried past him without a further thought. Just recently I had become the target of some malicious gossip. The mastermind behind it was an elementary school kid. As a result, I had been feeling easily set off every time I saw these tiny mischievous young children. However, something didn't feel right. 2 blocks later, a young girl jumped in front of me, holding a flowery umbrella, and said in a crisp voice, Big brother, could you come play with me? Little girl, you are really cute, but Big brother is not going to play with you. Leave me alone, all you cute boys and cute girls, I'm not in the mood. I held the umbrella lower and kept walking. However, I then mysteriously ran into several more children of similar ages, although all of them were wearing different clothes. Yet they all looked at me with an identical innocent smile and said exactly the same thing. It was so freaky. I was almost walking as fast as an Olympic race walker. Just a little further. Once I turned around that corner, I would be at the supermarket. I bumped right into someone, fell to the ground, and my umbrella slipped out of my hand. It wasn't a kid this time, but someone who was very skinny. I couldn't see anything but a dark figure. Thunder kept booming in the clouds. Suddenly, a blinding bolt of lightning flashed across the sky, and almost lit up the entire grey city. Oh, there's the guy we just told last episode. The person was covered from head to toe in dark clothes, underneath a clear raincoat. His face was mostly hidden behind a mask. I could only see a pair of ice-cold eyes that were glimmering from the flash of lightning. I felt a chill climb up my spine. Big brother. A muffled voice came out behind the mask. I couldn't tell whether it belonged to a woman or a man, but I knew it was the most terrifying voice I had ever heard. Could you come play with me? I climbed off of the ground, turned around and ran as fast as I could, without even picking up the umbrella. And yet I heard footsteps following behind me, with exactly the same pace as mine, and laughter. Who is that? Why are they chasing me? What does it want with me? The thoughts kept getting scarier and scarier in my head. I tried to shut them out, but just kept running. But no matter how fast or how far I ran, the footsteps and the laughter were still right behind me. My mother had always complained that I never exercised. She said if I ever ran into a bad guy, I would be dead because I would be running too slow. Mother, I promise I will never fail to listen to you ever again. My legs were getting heavier and heavier, and the footsteps behind me were getting closer and closer. Suddenly, my left hand was firmly grasped. I turned around in utter terror and gazed right back into those cold eyes once again. There was no way that those eyes could belong to a normal human being. The dark figure grabbed my wrist tightly, with a strength that was way too powerful for its skinny frame. It then covered my nose and mouth with a damp cloth. A tide of exhaustion suddenly washed over me. Everything went dark. I passed out. When I woke up, I realized that I couldn't move. Wait, why was I tied to a table with my arms and legs all spread out? And where had my clothes gone? Big brother? I heard his chilling voice right next to my ear. The masked person had a shiny scalpel in one of his hands this time. He kept brushing the back of the cold scalpel over my thighs. In his other hand, he was holding the gossip newspaper that had a picture of my butt. Big brother, I heard that you like little boys' lollipops. Jesus Christ, what the hell? I tried to protest, but my body felt as heavy as a piece of cast iron, and the only sound I could make were some random noises. Actually, I like them too. What? I saw a silver reflection flash through the air. The pain was so intense that even my numb body couldn't ignore it. It looked like a warm red liquid splashed all over my body. The only thought I had before I completely lost consciousness was, damn, I shouldn't have gone out. Jimmy. What if this is not him? But he looks exactly the same. I was thinking it might be someone like the What was it? The doctor's assistant? I think it was something like that. That was metaphor, but I mean, let's just do the letters. We'll probably find out. Not a lot of choices here, anyway. So let's start with putting all of these over here. I sprinted towards a nearby road with all the strength I had left, hoping to stop a taxi. Actually, any vehicle would do. As I was about to step onto the road, I looked back to check where he was one last time. But I saw him stop. Beep beep. The deafening sound of a car horn. And the screeching of tires rushed towards me from a distance. My body flew off of the ground. As I was flipping through the air, I saw the spinning green traffic light out of the corner of my eye. The only thought I had before I completely lost consciousness was, no matter what, you should always check the traffic light. My heart skipped a few beats. I felt like I'd already died. I thought I must be in a wild dream. I'd seen too many movies with a similar plot. The heroine was about to fall off a cliff and the hero was able to catch her hand at the last moment. Yet, we were not the hero and heroine of that kind of movie. Just when I thought this would be my last chance to tell him how I felt, the torrent washed us both off the cliff. Our hands lost hold of each other's grip. We were too far away to hear what we were yelling at each other. I supposed I didn't even deserve this one last chance. I was falling. I kept falling. After what had felt like an eternity, my body finally touched the ground. I could feel something sticky coming out of my nose and my ears. I looked at him lying motionless in the distance. He was becoming blurry until everything went dark. Yeah, that certainly sounds bad. So just try everything else, like everything the opposite. Just trying it. The sweat on my palm had glued my hand tightly to the pen that I had just stuck in his shoulder. But he showed no signs of pain at all. Who the hell was this person? I fell down into the mud and the torrent of mud and soil underneath swept both of us down the cliff. The mud and soil kept splashing onto my face and into my nose. I was beginning to have trouble breathing. Suddenly something hard struck me in the forehead and I blacked out. When I woke up, I realized I was in a hospital. I couldn't move at all. My entire body had been wrapped up like a mummy. The nurse told me that a team of road repair workers had found me. I had broken numerous bones all over my body, but none of my organs had been damaged. It was almost a miracle. A doctor in a white coat came in soon after the nurse left. He was wearing a mask so I couldn't see his face. He had a glistening scalpel in his hand. I could see a pair of cold yet crazy eyes above the mask. "Big brother, we're about to start the procedure now." No! I felt weightless. I had never done bungee jumping before. I imagined it would probably feel something like this. I was falling, kept falling. After what had felt like an eternity, my body finally touched the ground. I could feel something sticky coming out of my nose and my ears. It hurt so bad. So bad. Okay, now let's actually try and do this. Sort of valley beneath me. This. Okay, that doesn't solve this. My heart skipped a few beats. I felt like I'd already died. I thought I must be in a wild dream. I'd seen too many movies with a similar plot. Yeah, we've read all of that. The wind and the rain kept getting stronger. He grabbed a small tree next to the cliff with his left hand. Its tiny trunk was shaking more and more violently in a relentless wind. I was so scared, and I could sense that I wasn't the only one. Finally, a crisp, snapping sound broke the silence between us. We fell off the cliff, holding onto each other's hands as tight as we could. I was falling. I kept falling. Yep, and then it's just the same again. At last, at the final moment of my life, I had managed to conjure up enough courage. "Mr. Wind, I love you." I didn't hear a response. The rain and tears had blurred my eyes, and I couldn't see his face. Alright. This should do it. I'm not sure how I found the strength, but I stepped forward at the last moment. I could feel my heel just miss the sliding mud. A torrent of mud was falling off of the slope at a hilly roadside. A landslide? The mud and soil underneath the masked person suddenly began to move rapidly, as if they had just been awoken by the thunderous explosion in the sky. The masked person was sucked into the torrent and swept down the cliff into the distance. The goddess of fortune must have heard my call for help. Lucky me. After struggling to calm down, I realized a new problem. Where the hell was I? I eventually managed to stop a taxi and get back home, even though I was completely lost. The warm bed and the soft sheets seemed like friends from another lifetime when I got home. They sucked me in instantly, as if they were a black hole. The only thought I had before I completely lost consciousness was, I shouldn't have gone out. My heart skipped a few beats. I felt like I'd already died. I thought I must be in a wild dream. Then she would cut his hand with something and say, "Let go of me or I'll drag you down too." However, I was no heroine. The blood was being washed away by the rain. It flowed onto my hand and dropped onto my face. I had stuck the pen into the back of his hand, but it had been blown away by the heavy wind. This wasn't a movie. I would drag him down, I definitely would. But I didn't have the courage to tell him to let go of me. I was such a coward. "Hold on, keep your eyes on me." He held me even tighter. The rain and tears had blurred my eyes. I couldn't see his face. "I'm sorry, I'm so scared." I was so scared of being left alone. Miraculously, he seemed to have heard my thoughts. "Don't be scared. I would never leave you alone. Ever." He grabbed the tree next to him with his left hand and leaned back. The tree was already bending at a dangerous angle. My body was jerked upwards. The little tree snapped in half. At that same instant, he pulled me into his broad chest. He locked me in his strong arms. I felt a warmth that I hadn't felt in a long time. I couldn't think of anything to say. He didn't say anything either. Or maybe he did say something, but it was drowned out by the rain and I couldn't hear it. Nice. Regrets. And Fear Fortune. Okay. Oh, they're both singulars. Alright, Jimmy. Actually, now let's do Wen Zhaoren first.